So tonight is burger night, and we've done a handful of other burgers before. This one is a specific one. It's an Oklahoma onion burger. We've been looking around trying to figure out some places we know we want to eat this year as we travel, and came across this burger place in New York that I know we're going to try to get to, and watched their video, and he was talking about making their onion burger, and it just looked really good. So we're going to do it. And it's a simple recipe with a couple of just key ingredients, and trust the process, and it should come out awesome. So we're gonna get right into it. All right, so I'm gonna talk through what we're gonna do, because once we get started, it's gonna get smoky in here. We're gonna have some fans going, because we're gonna crank the heat up on these guys. Once our pan is like ripping hot, we're gonna smack a ball into it. Gonna season it with a little bit of kosher salt, maybe a dash of some seasoned salt, and top it with our onions and smash it. We're just gonna let that sit for a couple minutes before we scrape it all up and flip it over. So we'll flip that over so the onions will be underneath, trapped in a hot pan in a burger over top. So some of those onions are gonna start to caramelize, some may even start to burn a little bit, some will be kind of steaming, so we'll get some different flavors happening with the onions. And then we're gonna take our buns, and basically we're gonna stack it, cheese, bottom of the bun, top of the bun, and set that right on top of our burgers so that can start to steam as well as the burger's cooking. And for the rolls, we went with some of the Martin potato rolls. They smell awesome, they taste awesome, kind of thick, denser a little bit, not super dense, but they're not flaky, they're not gonna fall apart as we steam them essentially on top of our burgers. So yeah, for this, you want some really thin onions. Ideally, not sliced by hand. We had a mandolin at home that did not make the trip with us on the road, and we now have a mandolin on order because, yeah, like to just get. Yeah, there's been enough times where it's like we got by without having it, but had we had one, it would have just made life easier and been more true to the recipe we were trying to make. So for now, I'm just cutting as thin as I can and not my hand, which is a perfect time to showcase our new knives, which actually, if you've noticed before, I had a Wusthof chef's knife, classic icon, same series as this. I really enjoyed my Wusthof chef's knife, classic icon series. So had been looking at other knives in that series, and finally we just decided we'd pick up one of their small sets. So I think we did a 7-piece set, which was essentially 5 knives, a pair of scissors, and a block. So we're not gonna use the block. The scissors are nice, they come apart so they're easy to clean. They will replace a cheap pair of scissors that we've been using. And then we have another chef's knife. So my older chef's knife will retire to the storage unit for the time being. It's been great. This guy will stand in now. Mine has a nick in it right about here that with sharpening over the years has slowly been going away, but shortly after I got it, a friend knocked it off the knife rack onto the counter, and it bent. And yeah. So, been dealing with that. Now, I have a straight knife. We have our new Santoku that will replace our old Santoku. Hollow ground. Serrated utility knife. That thing looks like it will do some damage. I finally got my longer paring knife that I've been wanting and just never got around to buying. And then a slightly shorter bread knife that doesn't stab the counter over there or us. And then we'll keep our cheese knife. So those are the new knives. We'll put a link to them in the description if you're thinking about wanting something new. They've worked great for us over the years, so can't knock it. So with these, we're actually kind of handling it a little bit more. That was kind of a tip heard from a Kenji Lopez video on his smash burgers. And it was basically the idea of, like, you know, a lot of times you don't want to handle the meat. You want to keep it kind of not worked up and not tough. But with the smash burgers, to make sure they hold together nice once you do smash them, it's actually kind of like, you know, kind of just work the meat a little bit more than you normally would. I think he said something like, you know, like it's kind of like the way, like, you know, you form gluten with pizza dough by kind of making it tough. And this way, I guess, you know, the proteins melds together. And yeah, this is also that 70-30. So I'm melting some fat right now in my hands, so I can get my hands washed up. But that's our burgers. Ooh, that's so hot, but really good. A ton of onion, but it doesn't taste all oniony. It's like, you know, some's caramelized, some's just, you know, steamed, some a little burnt and crunchy, but it gives a really nice flavor. All right, so burgers have been made and consumed, and now we're continuing to let this place air out. We tried to get some pictures of it outside, and I don't think it's going to do it justice, but there was smoke pouring out of our vent. It smelled really good, though.
I'm surprised nobody came by.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like there was a fire going on.
Next time we'll make this outside.
Yeah. So, to recap, because I do feel like I kind of moved through things a little fast because I was hungry and excited to eat. Couple things with this recipe. The onions are a way, back in like the 30s, Great Depression era, they used that to extend the meat. They could kind of, you know, give you a bigger burger using less meat. So it was a way for that to work. Whereas some places, like on the East Coast, they were adding things like breadcrumbs or things like that to, you know, to extend the meat. So people were doing the same thing, just accomplishing it different ways. This one with the onions, though, awesome. You know, some key takeaways is just it's simple ingredients. So the buns, you know, the potato rolls work out really nice because they are a little denser and can hold up to that steaming and not fall apart. A nice sweet Vidalia onion works awesome. Thinly sliced, if you've got a mandolin, awesome. We don't yet, it's on the way. So we're between mandolins, but that makes the onion, you know, caramelize up and do its thing a little faster than a thick slice. As far as the meat goes, you know, the thinner the grind you can get, the better, and fattier the better. I mean, we actually used, I mean, it's kind of ugly in there right now, but I mean, we didn't add anything to the pan. It was a dry pan when we started, and it was 70-30 for the grind. So we had plenty of fat in there, but it tastes awesome. So just, you know, be careful. You're gonna have oil splattering around because you've got high heat and high fat content. You don't want to grease fire, so just keep an eye on things. Be careful.
We use the induction. So.
Yeah, so that does help. I mean, it's still plenty hot, and we had this thing cranked, and we sort of freaked it out a few times. We got it a little too hot, and it didn't like it, so it started to cool itself down. So we just kind of had to reset, which just gave us a chance to just eat and enjoy a burger, and then fire back up and make another one. So yeah, I think that's it. You know, some salt is really the only seasoning we use, a little bit of seasoning salt. We didn't even put pepper on these. And yeah, so that was it. It was good. And you know, if you like this type of content, go ahead, like and subscribe. It helps us out, and we'll see you down the road.